Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. I'm Tracy Shilshi. The festive weekend is kicking in, but then there's lots making news as well. Let's start with the headlines. Indian troops kill 15 Pakistani soldiers in retaliatory firing after ceasefire violation. Home Minister Rajnath Singh says Pakistan is trying to harm India through cowardly actions like terrorism. India condemns the expulsion of High Commission official by Islamabad, says Pakistan has provided no justification for allegations that the official's activities violated diplomatic norms. Rajasthan police arrest another person for spying. Arrested person, Shoaib, worked as a visa agent, collected information about Indian troop deployment in border areas. And Supreme Court warns entire judiciary will come to a grinding halt if the centre delays judges' appointments. Points out that many rooms in the Karnataka High Court are locked because there are no judges. Our top story, the situation along the India-Pakistan border remains tense after continued heavy shelling by Pakistan on Indian positions and civilian areas on Friday. The BSF said that Indian forces killed 15 Pakistani rangers in retaliatory fire. In the last 12 hours, there have been 6 ceasefire violations by Pakistan. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said that war was not a solution, even as more troops were deployed to maintain law and order during the separatist shutdown for the 112th day in the valley.
Heavy exchange of firing with Pakistani troops continued along the border areas of Kathua, Poonch and Rajouri district on Friday. 2 civilians were killed and 2 others were injured in the firing in Jammu region. Pakistani troops used mortars and small arms fire to target Indian positions in Naushera, Sunderbani and Pallanwala sectors. In a strong response, the BSF killed 15 Pakistani rangers. 21 civilians, including 4 women, were injured in the firing from across the border.
They will continue to fire as they have been doing. They will be getting the befitting reply from the BSF and the Indian side also. तो हमने आँखों से देखा है, हमारे लोगों ने बाय आँखों से या किसी इंस्ट्रूमेंट से देखा है, और हमें लगता है कि वो कम से कम जो है वो स्नाइपिंग के बाद वाले फिगर वो कंटिन्यू कर लें तो करीब 15 के आसपास है।
का फायर हो रहा है, लगातार फायर हो रहा है, बिल्कुल घरों के नजदीक सबके हो रहा है और स्कूल के पास नजदीक हो रहा है।
हैवी शेलिंग सर, ये तो पहली बार ऐसे देखी है, तो बहुत मुश्किल है सर। गवर्नमेंट को थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए इस बॉर्डर एरिया के लिए।
अचानक गोला आ गया तो मैं तो रो के पागल हो गई, तो अचानक अंदर आ गई, तो फिर अंदर आई तो चाय नहीं, सुबह की चाय नहीं पी हमने, तो डर के मारे एक जगह ही छुप के बैठे हुए हैं।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh targeted Pakistan, accusing it of indulging in a proxy war against India.
प्रॉक्सी वार भारत के साथ लड़ने की पाकिस्तान कोशिश कर रहा है, उसे इस हकीकत को भी समझना चाहिए। प्रॉक्सी वार कभी भी बहादुर लोग नहीं लड़ा करते, बराबर ये कमजोर लोग ही लड़ते हैं। कमजोर लोगों का हथियार आतंकवाद है।
In the wake of the escalating tensions, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said war was not a solution and Pakistan should take initiative to resolve all disputes.
पर जंग, जदल, क्रॉस फायर, वायलेशन ये रहने वाली चीज नहीं है। अल्टीमेटली हमें एक दूसरे के साथ रहना सीखना पड़ेगा, ये रहना है। ये गोलाबारी खत्म होनी चाहिए। लोग दरबदर हो रहे हैं, जम्मू में जख्मी हो रहे हैं, मारे जा रहे हैं हमारे वहाँ फोर्सेस के लोग। मैं समझती हूँ जंग किसी मसले का हल नहीं है। अल्टीमेटली हमें आपस में दोस्ती कर लेनी चाहिए।
Meanwhile, the last rites of BSF personnel Jitendra Kumar Singh, who lost his life in heavy shelling by Pakistan, were performed. Areas near the border have been on high alert because of the spurt in firing from Pakistan in the past few days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, at least 6 suspected terrorists, including a policeman, were arrested in separate operations in Srinagar and Kulgam district on Friday. Security forces launched search operations following intelligence inputs about the presence of the Lashkar-e-Toiba militants in Batmalu police station area of Srinagar. 5 suspected LET terrorists and a policeman hailing from Kupwara district were arrested during that operation. Weapons and explosives were also recovered from them. In the search operation in Kulgam district, a suspected terrorist of the Hizbul Mujahideen group was arrested. Now, a day after busting a Pakistani espionage ring, the Delhi police today arrested a third spy from Jodhpur in Rajasthan. The police claimed that he was in touch with the expelled Pakistan High Commission staffer for the last 3 to 4 years and had visited the neighbouring country 6 times. The arrested man worked as a visa agent and reportedly hired other 2 spies who were arrested on Thursday.
One more Indian, allegedly spying for Pakistan, was arrested by the Rajasthan police on Friday. He was handed over to the Delhi police that busted a major espionage ring run by an official of the Pakistani High Commission in India. Identified as Shoaib, the arrested spy worked as a visa agent in Jodhpur. He was reportedly tasked to collect information about Indian troop deployment in the border areas.
इसको भी टास्किंग की हुई थी कि आर्मी के, बीएसएफ के डिप्लॉयमेंट, ट्रूप्स की मूवमेंट, वो सारी चीज़ें इससे मंगा रहे थे और उसी सिलसिले में इनका काफ़ी बड़ा एक नेटवर्क बन गया था। मौलाना रमज़ान खान जो कल परसों गिरफ्तार हुआ था, उससे भी इसके अच्छे संबंध थे, सुभाष जहांगीर से भी अच्छे संबंध थे।
Shoaib visited Pakistan at least 6 times in the last few years. He was allegedly in constant touch with Pakistani diplomat Mahmood Akhtar, who was declared persona non grata by India on Thursday and would have to leave the country by Saturday.
कम से कम आधा दर्जन बार पाकिस्तान जा चुका है। इसकी जो अम्मी जान है और जो मामा वगैरह हैं, ननिहाल है, वो पाकिस्तान में ही है।
In retaliation to its official being asked to leave India, Pakistan also expelled Indian diplomat Surjit Singh.
The Foreign Secretary summoned the Indian High Commissioner, Mr. Gautam Bambewala, on 27th October, that is yesterday, and conveyed the decision of the government of Pakistan to declare Mr. Surjit Singh an official of the Indian High Commission as persona non grata. Mr. Surjit Singh, the Foreign Secretary expressed deep concern over the activities of the Indian official that I named that were in violation of the Vienna Convention and the established diplomatic norms. The Indian High Commission has been asked to make urgent necessary arrangements for Surjit Singh and his family to leave Pakistan by 29th October.
India condemned Pakistan's decision, saying the action further confirms that the country continues to be in denial of its anti-India activities.
No justification has been provided by the government of Pakistan except for the completely baseless and unsubstantiated allegation that his activities were not in keeping with diplomatic norms. The government condemns Pakistan's step. It is obvious that the step is an afterthought following yesterday's apprehension of Pakistan High Commission staffer Mahmood Akhtar in Delhi while indulging in anti-India activities.
News reports suggest Pakistani spy Mahmood Akhtar was trying to gather classified information on deployment of Indian security forces along the western coast, possibly to carry out a strike similar to the 2008 Mumbai terror attack. The 2 Indian spies arrested on Thursday allegedly supplied information to Akhtar about deployment in the Sir Creek area and the Kutch region. Akhtar has reportedly confessed to the police about his role in the spy ring. The Delhi police is believed to have also done a video recording of his statement in which he named several officers of the Pakistani High Commission.
More expulsions and counter-expulsions may take place in coming future because in India, investigations are going on how many other people from Pakistan High Commission are involved in such espionage activities. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person DK Pandey in Delhi.
The Supreme Court expressed anguish over the delay in appointment and transfer of judges in high courts despite recommendations made by the collegium. It warned the centre for the delay and held it responsible for what it called trying to bring the institution to a grinding halt. Here's a report.
The Supreme Court on Friday warned the central government that the delay in judges' appointments will bring the entire judiciary to a grinding halt. A bench headed by Chief Justice T.S. Thakur said, and I quote, "The court's rooms are locked down. Do you want to lock down the judiciary? You cannot bring the entire institution to a grinding halt," unquote.
I personally think that the anguish of the Chief Justice that he has been expressing over the last 6 months has had no effect on the government. The government thinks the judiciary is irrelevant. The judiciary is not required for the country, and this is shocking. I am myself amazed at the attitude of the government towards the judiciary.
The Supreme Court also said the appointment process can't be stalled due to non-finalization of the Memorandum of Procedure. However, representing the centre, Attorney General Mukul Rohtagi said more progress will be seen on the MOP in the near future.
Certainly it will take some time because we have to deliberate with the state governments, we have to deliberate with the other constitutional authorities and all that. So I went to the Chief Justice with a letter stating that, sir, the new memorandum procedure will take some time. So we will have a selection of judges till the new memorandum procedure is finalized on the basis of the present memorandum procedure which exists. So we went on. Is it not a magnanimity of the central government?
Shedding light on the current state of affairs, the court said several courtrooms in the Karnataka High Court are locked because there are no judges. The Apex Court also warned the centre that it may summon secretaries of the PMO and the Ministry of Law and Justice to ascertain the factual position. The court will meet again on 11th November for a further hearing. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Japan on the 11th and 12th of November for the annual summit meet with his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe. The meeting could see a civil nuclear cooperation pact being inked. The meeting is also seen as an occasion for the two leaders to have in-depth exchanges on bilateral, regional and global issues of mutual interest. Apart from the thrust on enhancing cooperation in civil nuclear sector, the two sides will also explore ways to boost ties in trade, including in high technology areas, security and infrastructure. All efforts are being made to stitch a pact during this visit, and if cleared, it would become Japan's first civil nuclear cooperation pact with a country that has not joined the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Central Information Commission has sought files relating to foreign travels of the Prime Minister from the External Affairs Ministry. The ministry had earlier refused an RTI applicant access to these documents, citing security concerns. However, the Chief Information Commissioner, Radhakrishna Mathur, directed the MEA to examine the files to ascertain whether there was indeed any security concerns. Retired Commodore Lokesh Batra, who filed the RTI, stated before the Commission that the case involves substantive public interest, as the bailout amount, reported to be in thousands of crores of rupees, being given to Air India is the money of taxpayers. He said that there is a need for reforms by understanding the causes of long delays in payments to Air India. China on Friday warned that bilateral ties may suffer if it allows Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama to visit Arunachal Pradesh. Reports state that India has granted permission to Dalai Lama to visit Arunachal Pradesh at the Chief Minister's invitation. China considers Arunachal as part of southern Tibet and routinely objects to visits by Dalai Lama there. The border dispute covers the 3,488-kilometer-long line of actual control. Asked about assertions by the External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup that Dalai Lama has visited the state in the past, and China said making one mistake does not mean that he can make another mistake. In politics, Samajwadi Party leader Shivpal Singh Yadav today met Rashtriya Lok Dal leader Ajit Singh in New Delhi. The meeting triggered speculation of a prospective alliance between the two parties. Yadav said that since both the Samajwadi Party and the RLD have socialist ideologies, they should come together ahead of next year's assembly polls in the state. Shivpal Yadav also invited Ajit Singh for Samajwadi Party's Silver Jubilee anniversary event on the 5th of November. The meeting comes against the backdrop of intense factional infighting within the Samajwadi Party.
देखिए जितने भी सेकुलर लोग हैं, हम चाहते हैं कि उत्तर प्रदेश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी न घुसने पाए, और जितने भी सेकुलर लोग हैं वो सब लोग इकट्ठे हो जाएं, और हम चाहते हैं कि लोहिया वादी और चौधरी चरण सिंह वादी ये सब लोग मिल करके, और इन्हीं लोगों को हम निमंत्रण दे रहे हैं।
तो करीब एक महीने पहले ही जो अभी शिवपाल जी ने कहा वही कि लोहियावादी और चरण सिंह वादी इकट्ठे होने चाहिए, एक मंच पे आने चाहिए, किस रूप में आए वो डिस्कस करने की बात है।
And now let's get you some more updates from across the country and nationwide. At least 8 people were killed and several others injured after a fire broke out in a fireworks shop in Gujarat's Vadodara district today. Meanwhile, police and fire officials were deployed in large number at the spot to carry out relief work. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. 2 Cobra Jawans were in a pressure bomb blast triggered by Naxalites in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. The incident occurred when a battalion was carrying out a search operation in the nearby police station area. Soon after the incident, reinforcements were rushed to the spot and the injured Jawans were taken to the nearest hospital. The Supreme Court on Friday stayed the bail of Rocky Yadav, the prime accused in the Aditya Sachdeva road rage case. The Patna High Court had granted bail to Yadav in October. He is accused of shooting Aditya Sachdeva, a class 12 student, in a road rage incident on the 7th of May this year. Rocky is the son of suspended JDU MLC Manorama Devi. The Apex Court also refused to stay the Allahabad High Court's order on D&D flyway and said that no toll will be collected till further orders. The Apex Court also said that it will get the profit account of D&D toll company audited either by CAG or by an independent auditor to find whether the profit recovered was adequate. Supreme Court will hear the matter again on the 7th of November, and until then, there will be no toll collection on the expressway. A quick break. Up next, international news.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young, and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
I'm here in this institute now almost 29 years. I grew along with this institute. We are doing, world-class research. You can compare our institute with any national institutions and international institutions. We are one of the top among all the R&D institutions in the country and CSR institutions also.
Watch Eureka with Dr. A. Ajay Ghosh, Director, CSIR NEAST, Thiruvananthapuram, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. Let's get to international news now, starting with the US, where Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton made her first joint campaign appearance on Thursday with First Lady Michelle Obama. Both women focused their addresses on urging young people and women not to get complacent and come out to vote on the 8th of November.
If Hillary doesn't win this election, that will be on us. It will be because we did not stand with her. It will be because we did not vote for her.
For the first time in the US presidential election, First Lady Michelle Obama shared the stage with Hillary Clinton, encouraging voters in the key battleground state of North Carolina. The former rivals heaped praises on each other's commitment to public life.
She has more experience and exposure to the presidency than any candidate in our lifetime. Yes, more than Barack, more than Bill. So she is absolutely ready to be commander-in-chief on day one. And yes, she happens to be a woman.
There were times during those three debates when I'll tell you, the loop running in my head was what Michelle said to us at the convention, right? When they go low, we go high. And on top of all of this, just by being herself every day, never missing an opportunity to honor her parents for the hard work and sacrifice that set her on her way, she has shown every little girl and boy in America that there are no limits to what they can achieve if they work hard and do right and believe in themselves. Seriously, is there anyone more inspiring than Michelle Obama?
Clinton called on voters to avoid complacency, with opinion polls showing her holding a clear lead over Republican rival Donald Trump ahead of the 8th November election. Trump recently cast doubts on the legitimacy of the US election, saying he believed the results were being rigged.
So when you hear folks talking about a global conspiracy and saying that this election is rigged, understand that they are trying to get you to stay home. They are trying to convince you that your vote doesn't matter, that the outcome has already been determined and you shouldn't even bother making your voice heard.
Michelle Obama, who was critical of Clinton during the hard-fought 2008 Democratic nominating race, seems to have put behind all traces of bitterness.
Just the way they always speak positively. They don't go to the negative side, and I love that. I think they send a strong example to our kids.
Michelle Obama's stinging denunciation of Trump after a leaked 2005 video showed him making lewd remarks is seen by many as one of the campaign's most striking condemnations of the Republican nominee. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The United Nations has called for an investigation into the strike on a school in Idlib in Syria that killed 26 civilians. UN said that the strikes in Syria or Russia amounted to war crimes. Russia has denied responsibility, though, for the strike, but said that it will continue the airstrikes to clear terrorists.
The United Nations wants the strike on a school in Syria's Idlib to be investigated. 26 civilians, mostly children, were killed. Monitoring groups said the Syrian or Russian warplane strikes targeted several locations in Has, including the middle school. The UN called the strike a war crime and sought an International Criminal Court investigation into it.
The Secretary General is appalled by reports of attacks that killed students and teachers in a school complex in Has village in Idlib Governorate in Syria on October 26. If deliberate, this attack may amount to a war crime. The Secretary General calls for immediate and impartial investigation of this and other similar attacks against civilians in Syria.
Russia denied responsibility for the attack, but said it would continue airstrikes to clear out the militants. Russian President Vladimir Putin said they had no other option but to clear out the terrorists from Aleppo, despite the dangers to civilians living in the city.
Мы все время слышим Алеппо, Алеппо, Алеппо. Ну да, вопрос в чем? Или оставить там террористическое гнездо, или минимизируя, делая все, чтобы избежать жертв среди мирного населения, все-таки это гнездо дожать.
Meanwhile, Syrian rebels announced a big offensive to break the government siege of East Aleppo. Rebels fired hundreds of missiles into western Aleppo, killing at least a dozen civilians. The attacks so far are coming from rebels outside Aleppo. But with Syria and Russia intensifying the airstrikes, rebels inside the city are also likely to join the offensive. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in Iraq, Islamic State terrorists abducted thousands of men, women and children from areas around Mosul to use them as human shields. The United Nations Human Rights Group said that the terrorists were pushing forward with their strategy of forcing people living nearby into Mosul as coalition forces close in to retake the city. The terrorist group also killed at least 232 people in and around Mosul last week, including 190 former Iraqi security forces and 40 civilians. The offensive launched on the 17th of October has seen tens of thousands of Iraqi fighters advancing from several fronts in a bid to retake the last major Iraqi city under IS control. The army, backed by US coalition-led airstrikes, have killed nearly 900 terrorists. The raging war has forced thousands of civilians, though, to flee their homes from the besieged city.
ISIL's depraved, cowardly strategy is to attempt to use the presence of civilian hostages to render certain points, areas, or military forces immune from military operations, effectively using tens of thousands of women, men, and children as human shields. Many of those who refused to comply were shot on the spot.
And here are more international news updates in Global Buzz. A UN General Assembly committee on Thursday voted to launch negotiations on a new treaty banning nuclear weapons despite opposition from the world's strongest nuclear powers. A resolution presented by Austria, Ireland, Mexico, Nigeria, South Africa and Brazil was adopted by a vote of 123 to 38 with 16 abstentions. 4 of the 5 UNSC nuclear powers, Britain, France, Russia and the US, voted against the resolution while China abstained, as did India and Pakistan. 7 leaders of an armed militia who led a 41-day standoff at a U.S. federal wildlife refuge in Oregon have been cleared of the charges against them. The surprise verdict acquitted them of conspiracy and firearms offences. 26 people were charged for the standoff. Some have already pleaded guilty to conspiracy. A second group of defendants is due to stand trial in February. A 29-year-old Indian origin bus driver was burnt alive by a passenger in Brisbane town in Australia. Manmeet Alisher, who was driving a Brisbane council bus, was charred to death by a man who set him on fire. Police Commissioner Ian Stewart said that Alisher died on the spot, while several passengers on board the bus at the time managed to escape through the rear door. He further added that the attack did not appear to be a case of racism. Meanwhile, the suspect was taken into custody. Addressing a press conference, the Director General of Public Health Department today said that a pregnant foreign woman in Myanmar's largest city, Yangon, has been diagnosed with Zika, the first case of the mosquito-borne virus in the Southeast Asian country. Earlier in September, 2 Myanmar citizens, one living in Singapore and one in Thailand, were identified as infected with the virus. And finally, let's get you all the latest from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis entered the WTA Finals semi-finals in Singapore with a straight-set win over Chinese Taipei pair of Hao Qingchan and Yung Jiang Chan, the number 2 seeded Indo-Swiss pair who reunited for the tournament after parting ways in August, won 7-6, 7-5. Indian challenge at the French Open badminton came to an end after PV Sindhu and HS Prannoy lost their respective singles matches. Rio Olympic silver medalist Sindhu lost to China's He Bingjiao 21-20, 21-17 in the pre-quarterfinals, while HS Prannoy lost to Taipei's Zhao Tianqian 19-21, 16-21 in a hard-fought tie. Juan Martín del Potro's impressive run of form continued at the Swiss indoors in Basel with a straight-sets victory over David Goffin. The Argentine, who won the event in 2012 and 2013, saved 4 break points into the match to win 7-5, 6-3. Top-seeded Stan Wawrinka also advanced to the quarterfinals with a 3-set 7-6, 6-7, 6-4 victory over American Donald Young. That's all we have for you in the news tonight. Thanks for joining us.